Negative people are some of the worst people to be around. Those energy vampires, aka Lil Debbies, aka those Debbie Downers. And we gonna talk about it today. The first thing that I want to talk about when it comes to negative people or those energy vampires is literally the negativity. It's like they constantly focus on the negative aspects of life and often complain about literally everything, all of their problems. They can't help themselves. And this, I don't think people realize is that it can lead to toxic environments and it can cause other people to feel drained and overwhelmed because when you have those people that come around like that, oftentimes it sucks the life out of you. You know, another thing about those type of people are the neediness and the attention seeking. It's always about them. They demand constant attention and they support excuse me, and they support often, monopolizing like conversations. It's always about them. They always turning the focus on themselves. Like no matter how often you try to like make it a general conversation or you talking, maybe it's just you and that person and you talking about you and your problems and the things you got going on. Like they gonna figure out a way to turn the focus back to themselves. Again, it's always about them. It's like they can't help themselves. And this can be exhausting for people within the friend group or even strangers. It can be extremely exhausting to others, and it makes it difficult to maintain balance in a healthy interaction with these type of people. And we all know these type of people. It may be family, friends, or coworkers, and sometimes it's people that we suck it up and we deal with it when we don't have to. Another thing with these type of people that you have to worry about is manipulation and control. They can be extremely manipulative. Like they would use certain tactics, like literally to get what they want. They don't care who it hurts, who it offends, who it bothers. As long as they're getting what they want, then that's all that matters. And like oftentimes, like these type of people will play the victim and even sometimes like try to guilt trip you, try to guilt trip other people to the point to where it's like, you want to feel sorry for them and they try to make you out the bad guy. Like they have no shame at all. You know what I mean? Like there's no shame in making other people feel bad because of like their negativity. And this type of behavior can undermine other people, like other people's like confidence and feelings. It can undermine you. You know what I mean? So like you got to be mindful, like because they know how to create unhealthy dynamics in let to make things work in their favor. And like this can be again any type of relationship. It can be a spouse, it can be a sibling, anybody like that. And these people are extremely bothered to an extent. The next thing that you got to be mindful about, like these energy vampires, is like they don't care. They simply do not care. They lack empathy. Energy vampires often lack empathy and are unable to genuinely like understand or care about other people. They don't care about other people's feelings, how what they say affect you or anything like that. It's like they don't care about other problems if it's not affecting them. Extreme lack of empathy. What I found out the hard way was that, you know, they just don't care about anybody and nobody but themselves. This can make interacting and interactions feel one-sided and unfulfilling. You hear me? Like it leaves you feeling, unappreciated and exhausted because it's all about them. You know, they don't care about nobody else. It's always a bunch of drama, a bunch of conflict. And I think what we don't realize is people like that, they thrive on drama. They thrive on conflict. And oftentimes, they stir up trouble and create unnecessary like tension just because it's like the constant turmoil can be emotionally exhausting, physically, draining, mentally exhausting and draining. And it's a distraction. Like, what I'm saying, it distracts and it hurts other people. You know, something I don't think we talk about too is like they inconsistent. They're inconsistent, they're unreliable because again, they lack empathy. So they don't care about you, they don't care about other people. Um when you think about, negative individuals and people that are extremely draining, like you can't depend on them for nothing. Not even the smallest and simplest task. Like they make it extremely difficult to trust or depend on them. And I think some of it is intentional, you know? And a lot of times I think that they don't even be aware of it, that they are the way that they are. This can lead to like, frustration on your end, and adding additional unnecessary stress at that for the people that, rely on them or need them and trust them. So it can be extremely harmful because the emotional exhaustion, excuse me, the emotional exhaustion, like, that constant exposure to that type of energy, just to that negative and bad energy, can lead to like, you know, just you feeling down, you feeling depressed and upset for things that are out of your control, some things that you didn't do or that you didn't even have a part in. You know what I mean? It's like as they behavior, their behavior can become extremely draining and overwhelming, leaving you feeling like you're pretty much like your tank on E, pretty much depleted. Like in that unnecessary stress. You got to worry about the stuff that you got going on, and then you got to worry about them. You know, like it can at least like decrease your overall well being. Like that negativity and that conflict brought on by those type of people, by those negative people, literally, you know what I'm saying, can like impact your mental health. It can lead you to having increased unnecessary anxiety for trying to be a good human being, being a good person in them. It can cause you to be depressed and overall just a general decline in your wellness. Like, and you can't let those type of people get you to that point, you know? Like dealing with like those energy vampires, when you think about it, like they they can be a huge distraction, and it can be distracting and time consuming trying to please them and satisfy them when in reality it's nothing that you can do, nothing you can say that's going to change the way that they act. Like it's extremely time consuming and reducing productivity to focus on like them is extremely harmful to you because you end up putting your own personal needs and your personal goals on hold. And again, these people can be anywhere. It can be, in your personal life or in your professional life. And you got to be able to point them out. That way you can know how to move accordingly and handle things accordingly. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be able to point those people out so you can know immediately how I'm gonna handle the situation. Like it puts a strain on relationships. It's nowhere around it. Like the manipulative and the manipulation and the self-centering all the time from like negative people like that behavior will put a strain on the healthiest of relationships. making it difficult to maintain it. And oftentimes leading you to like having to make hard decisions and cutting them off. Like, it's hard to maintain supportive connections with other people because, again, that lack of empathy and like the self-centeredness. So like you got to keep that in mind as you navigate these people. You got to make sure you keep these negative people from around you. And even though that's easier said than done, it's one of those things that, like, you have to do it in order for it to work. Like, practice makes perfect. You have to be willing to make those hard decisions and those hard choices when it comes to those negative people. It's either you or them. And I will hope that you would choose you every single time, no matter how hard and difficult that might be. So I'll leave you with this. Negative people can ruin your life. Those little Debbie Downers can ruin your life and make you become a negative person and a resentful person yourself. Misery loves company. And my advice is, don't let it happen to you. Don't become that company for them. So with that being said, I appreciate you for tuning in to another episode of A Quick Little Word Podcast. It's your boy Chris Wright. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, peace, love, and happiness.